And I've said before that he's got a little bit of LeBron, he's got a little bit of Larry Bird in him. But when you watch these young players develop, you see good habits, you see bad habits. It's like raising kids. Like you try to steer them away from their bad habits, steer them into their good habits. And yes, Luka has some Larry Bird in him, but he's got some James Harden in him and Carmelo Anthony in him. Let's talk Harden. Luka has the #1 usage rate in the NBA the last 2 years. It goes up in the playoffs. Is anybody really going to want to play with him? And if they do, will it work? I kept hearing how James Harden was good buddies with Westbrook. It didn't matter. Your game is your game. Is this Luka's game? He has to have the ball in his hands all the time. Now, LeBron used to have the ball in his hands a lot, but he's a great passer. He's a great distributor. I mean, LeBron's one of the great distributors. He really is of all time. We just think of Magic Johnson and point guards. LeBron's a top 5 passer in my life, maybe top 3. Magic's the best I've ever seen. So he's got a little James Harden in him. I don't know if he plays well with a teammate, especially a star teammate who wants to score. I mean, if I said Luka KD, you'd be like, I don't know if that's good for KD. You say LeBron in his prime and KD, you're like, oh, yeah, that would work. Steph and KD, oh, yeah, that would work. Luka and KD, when would KD get the ball? So there's a little Harden in Luka. There's also a little bit of Melo in Luka. You're never really sure he's in great shape. George Karl complained about that for years. He's like, Carmelo plays himself in shape. It kind of feels like that with Luka, right? Like, is he really dialed in? So there is Larry Bird here, but there's some James Harden questions, and they're real. His usage rate is through the roof, and it goes up in the playoffs. They become more Luka dependent. There's another player statistically who Luka's becoming. Get ready for it. Westbrook. Luka and Westbrook are the only 2 current NBA players with a losing record in playoff games in which all time in which they've played scored 40 or more. That's not great. Let me say those names again. Melo, Harden, and Westbrook. Not exactly the comps you're looking for in playoff success. So I like Luka a lot. But is he just an immense individual talent who is going to struggle playing with others and elevating others? Like Michael was so great, right? And he wasn't a great distributor, but Michael was relentless on the defensive end. He had the ball in his hands a lot, but he was relentless. Well, LeBron had the ball in his hands a lot, but he elevated other people and in his prime was a good defender. If you're just a great scorer, you're Melo. Harden, Westbrook. Those guys don't play on the defensive end. Those guys lack self-awareness. Michael had great self-awareness. LeBron still very good self-awareness. So, again, I love Luka. I think he's fantastic. And there is some Larry Bird there, but Larry Bird didn't need the ball in his hands all the time. So they've got to figure out a way, and I say it's like when you have kids. You're trying to move them subtly away from their bad habits and subtly into their good habits. And like with Luka, there's some habits here. You got to come into a season in shape. You've got to put forth an effort on the defensive end. Like Steph Curry's not a great defender, but he's feisty. Larry Bird wasn't a great defender, but he was competitive. He was trying. He didn't have great foot speed. Like Luka's just not really involved on that side of the floor. And Golden State is working him and seeking him. And for a while in the series against Phoenix, they were doing the same thing. So I'm not saying he's Melo or Harden or Westbrook, but there are some habits and comps and stats here that tell you he's got to come into a season in shape. He's got to put forth an effort on the defensive end. And at some point, if you have the ball in your hands that much, even if he did attract a star to play with him, would the star be happy a year later? Just say it out loud. If I said to you, KD and Luka, I'm not, but if you told me LeBron and KD, I'd be like, yeah, that would work. That would absolutely work. Everything kind of works with LeBron James, except Russell Westbrook, who can't play off the ball. Here's Luka after the loss.
I'm still learning. I think the first 2 quarters, I played very bad. That's on me. But I'm still learning. And I think, after this season is done, whatever we are. I think I'm gonna look back, and learn a lot of things. It's my first time in conference finals in the NBA. So I'm 23, man. I'm still learning a lot.
He is. Good news is we now have it confirmed he does not drink on game days. That's the good news. Joy Taylor with the news. No. What is he thinking? He got swept in the first round, and the Warriors look like they'll get into the finals. He's playing with an odd cast of characters. Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, no bench, a young head coach. Warriors have everything. Stars, culture, bench, depth, talent, Steph. You watch the Warriors' unique style, and you're like, oh, how much fun would it be to play with Steph or be Steph? You watch the Nets, and you think, I feel